I'm Alan Lopez. I'll be your guide on another historic tour of First Presbyterian Church of Anaheim. Right now we're in the choir room, which from 1929 until 1951 was the sanctuary of First Presbyterian. Many of the stained glass windows from the original church on Claudina and Cypress were brought over to this building. Behind me is one of the windows, which was donated by Kate Ray and Ella Wallop. They were sisters, and their father owned a walnut ranch. They were trying to decide on a name for the ranch when one night their father called his daughters to dinner, and he yells, "Kate, Ella." And they came down to dinner, and he said, "I know what we can call our ranch, Catella." Nobody understood what that word meant, and he had to explain it to them. But Catella is a well-known name in Anaheim to this day. This window was given in the memory of Reverend J.M. Roberts. He was brought here to Anaheim in the 1800s to be a missionary to the Mexicans and the Indians that lived in the area. And this window was donated by the Women's Presbyterian Society. First Presbyterians started the Women's Presbyterian Society for the Presbytery of Los Angeles in 1883. This window is dedicated to the memory of Reverend J.M. Ellis. John Mather Ellis was the second pastor of First Presbyterian. After our first pastor, Lemuel Weber, resigned, he died shortly afterwards, and Reverend Ellis was appointed as pastor of First Presbyterian. After he left here, he went to San Francisco, where he went to Yosemite for the dedication of Yosemite Chapel, which coincidentally had the same architect as our first building. While he was there, he did an early climb of Half Dome. From San Francisco, he went to Chile as a missionary, where he lived the rest of his life, and he died and is buried there. This window was dedicated to the memory of Dr. and Mrs. William Higgins. At the time, it probably was Dr. and Mrs., but later on, it became Dr. and Dr. Higgins. Mr. Dr. Higgins owned the first pharmacy in Anaheim. Mrs. Higgins was one of the first 9 members in attendance on March 6, 1870. On March 20th, 1870, their daughter Margaret was the first baby baptized at First Presbyterian. Mrs. Higgins later decided, when she was 40 years old and the mother of 5 children, that she wanted to be a doctor. She enrolled at the Medical School of the Pacific in San Francisco and was the first woman to graduate from that college. The Medical School of the Pacific later merged with Stanford University when it opened, so Mrs. Higgins was the first woman to graduate from Stanford Medical